Hey everyone, welcome to another FM synthesis custom patch tutorial. In this video, I'll show you how to program madFame MONOLEAD. So the first thing we do as always is we initialize a patch. This one uses algorithm 2. And starting with the output levels, operator 1 is 99, operator 2 is 75, operator 3 is 99, operator 4 is 70, operator 5 is 60, and operator 6 is not used, so we can switch that off. Operator 2 has the feedback loop, which goes to 7, and that'll produce our kind of a sawtooth waveform for the operator 1 and operator 2 stack. Next we go to key transpose, and we're going to press the C4 key, which will increase the overall pitch range across the keyboard by 1 octave. If you're one of my patrons and you've got the sysx file and the datasheet, your patch will be programmed with the standard pitch tuning, which is at C3. But for this video, I've decided just to make the sound a little bit higher in pitch. Of course, these things can be changed to your preference anyway. Moving on to the frequencies, operator 1 is 0.99, operator 2 is 0.99, operator 3 is 0.5, operator 4 is 0.5, and operator 5 is 0.5. Now this, at this stage, is a really good base for creating all kinds of sounds. So if you go through any of my custom patches and you're working your way through the programming, there may be points at which you decide, hey, I actually like this tone where it is at that point. So it's a good idea just to save them as a separate patch and come back to them later and just use them as a base point to program and go in different directions from. Now the other thing with this patch is it's a mono patch, so we're going to press function, go to poly mode or mono mode, and we're going to select mono. Now going back to the frequencies, the values of operator 1 and operator 2 can be modified. So say for example, if we just work on the coarse frequency for operator 1, we can increase it. And you'll get lots of different timbral qualities just by doing that alone. If we change the values of operator 2, again you get the same effect. And if you change them by the same increment together, let's just say operator 1 is going up to 1.99, operator 2 1.99, and up again. Let's go to 3.98 for each one. You get really cool tones that way. So again, at this stage, we haven't programmed envelopes, LFOs, or anything to do with the keyboard control. But simply by working on one of the two operator stacks in this algorithm and changing the coarse frequencies alone, you get a really wide range of timbral characteristics come through. So experiment with that. It's a really good way to familiarize yourself with FM and just what single increment changes can do to the sound. But for now we're going to drop this back to 0.99 for each one. So we're back to that sound there. So here we can move on to the envelopes. Starting with operator 1, all of the levels for the operators will be at the default settings, except for operator 2, which we will change its level and its rates. But for now we're going to work on the rates for operator 1. Rate 1 goes to 60. Rate 2 is 99, rate 3 is 99, and rate 4 is 50. Operator 2 will change the levels first. So level 1 is 99, level 2 is 0, level 3 is 0, and level 4 is 0. Rate 1 for operator 2 is 40. Rate 2 is 20. Rate 3 is 99, and rate 4 is 0. Operator 3, rate 1 is 99, rate 2 99, rate 3 99, and rate 4 is 50. Operator 4, rate 1 is 40, rate 2 is 99, rate 3 is 99, and rate 4 is 0. And operator 5 stays at its default settings. Now we can move on to the keyboard level scaling. So what this is going to do is it's going to make some of the operators a little more present in different parts of the keyboard. So for example, at the moment, you can hear that it's really bright in the highest notes, and down here it's quite soft. It doesn't really have much presence. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the keyboard level scaling to increase a bit of brightness down here, and I'm going to use certain operators for that, and I'm going to drop some of the brightness down here just so we get a little more balance across the keyboard. So we're going to start with operator 2, because operator 2 is a modulator, so it's basically altering the timbral values of the carrier below it, which is operator 1. And so for operator 2, I'm going to set its breakpoint to G5, and the left scale curve to plus linear, and on the right scale we're going to leave it at minus linear. And so for the left scale depth, which is how much we're going to increase this to, because it's positive linear, it's going upwards, we're going to make that 7. And you can hear already that it's a lot brighter. If we put it down to 0 again, that's where it is. And as I increase the left scale depth to 7, we get all of that brightness. So basically what we've done is we've just given a bit more gain to operator 2's volume just in this area of the keyboard. So where the output level normally would increase its volume overall, sometimes the way that it affects, especially modulators when they affect the carriers, the brightness isn't the same right across the pitch range. And so we actually need to change that and alter it to have more effect down here manually, and that's what the keyboard level scaling is for. We also want to reduce some of its brightness down here, so we're going to go to the right scale depth and push that all the way to 50. Now remember, the right scale curve is going down, so it's actually reducing. So the greater the right scale depth in a negative sense, the more quiet it's going to get. To 50. Now there are other modulators in this algorithm, so as we affect those ones with the keyboard level scaling, we'll start to balance out the brightness and the softness of their effect across the keyboard. Going to operator 4, we're going to change the breakpoint to C5. The left scale curve is plus linear, and the left scale depth is 15. And operator 5 breakpoint is C4. The left scale curve is plus linear, and left scale depth is 10. Now we go to the LFO. The waveform is sine. The speed is 50. The delay is 0. Pitch modulation depth is 0. Amplitude modulation depth is 10. Synchronization stays on. And then we go to mod sensitivity for amplitude, and we're going to adjust operator 2's sensitivity to 3 and operator 3's sensitivity to 3 as well. Finally, we go to function and go to the modulation wheel. The wheel range is 99, and we're going to turn the wheel pitch control on. So that means we can use the modulation wheel on the left here to introduce the LFO however we prefer. So and finally we can introduce some portamento. So this is optional. Again, for my patrons, if you've got the sysx file and the data sheet, the portamento time will be set and the mode is going to be full-time portamento, which means that you don't need to be holding a key and pressing another key for the portamento to be engaged. You can just... it'll be on full-time. And that there is how you program madFame MONOLEAD.